and had a good weekend, right? And I hope also you have gone through what we have decided in the last week, right? Yeah. And then in today we will move further, in polity. So can we, yeah, anyone can recall what we have talked about in the last class? Yeah, any idea? Yeah. You recall it, then meanwhile I'm writing something. Yeah. Just unmute yourself and then speak up. Yeah, what we had talked about in the last class. Go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah. Be confident in speaking.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Yeah.
So, sir, we have studied up to Constituent Assembly. Constituent Assembly was made, and in which Muslim League didn't join Constituent Assembly because they don't want to join India. And in December 1946, there was first meeting in which Sachidanand Sinha was first temporary president, and after that, in second sitting, Dr. Rajendra Prasad was a permanent president, and there was two vice president. They are Krishna Machari and H.C. Mukherjee.
H.C. Mukherjee, yeah. H.C. Mukherjee.
Yeah. H.C. S or H?
Not H.C. It's a H.C.
H, yeah. H.C. Mukherjee.
Last time मैंने S लगा दिया था, right?
Yes, sir.
And so H.C. Mukherjee, yeah.
So H.C. Mukherjee and Krishna Machari, they were vice president. And then Jawaharlal Nehru introduced objective resolution in that assembly. As per objective resolution, it promised India as a sovereign country, republic, and democratic. And it promised that it will make peace in India in all over the world, with all over world. And second, it ensured that there was a safeguard of minorities, backward classes, and all tribal peoples. And it also introduced separate communities. It also introduced Anglo-Indians, Parsis, Sikh, Indian, and so on.
Right.
And
good. Yeah, that's yeah. You want to add Swati and other? You can add to whatever Shivani has talked about. Especially I'm interested in objective resolution. What was this objective resolution? Yeah, Swati.
Later, we added the salient features of it in the preamble of our constitution.
Right.
The salient features of objective resolution are India will be a union of British states, and it will remain as a sovereign, democratic, and a republic country. And in that country, all the powers and authorities will be vested in the people of India itself, and they will guarantee justice, liberty, and equality to all the Indians. By then, they'll safeguard. They'll provide safeguard to like minorities, backward and tribal people, and every international disputes will be resolved through arbitration. That means they'll stand for peace. India will neither take any of its sides, rather it will stand for peace.
Yeah.
these were the like salient features of objective resolution.
Yeah. You're right. You're right. That the objective resolution declared India as a sovereign democratic republic, and it also declared that all source of authority and power, vested in the people of India, right? Then it also talked about that the constitution shall be based on liberty, equality, fraternity, and it will aspire for social justice, right? It will also protect the minority rights, rights of the tribals and others. And it also that said that the adequate safeguard will be provided to all backward classes, tribal people, minorities, right? And it guaranteed security to all people, right? And it said that the India would respect the peaceful coexistence in international relation, right? And India shall promote to resolve the international disputes through arbitration, right? Now I had given you a few questions. Have you done that? I had given you 2 questions to write. This is the early questions done. Then send it to me. Then you have email ID. You send those answers with me, shares with me, and I'll see it and comment on it. And then therefore, after that, I will tell you how to write an answer, right? That is very important to teach you, right? Because it doesn't matter how do you represent. It doesn't, it also matter how much you know, but it's also how much you know and you are able to represent on the paper, right? And how you can beautifully, arrange your answer, right? So just send it to me, share with me, then I'll tell you. Now, if you look at the Constituent Assembly that framed the Indian Constitution, and it framed with the many committee. Must have heard about drafting committee. Who headed the drafting committee of the Constitution? Any clue? Any idea?
So Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar.
Yeah, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar headed the drafting committee of the Constitution. And there was also, committee like Union Power Committee, like Provincial Constitution Committee. Then there was a Advisory Committee on Fundamental Right, Minority and Tribal and Excluded Areas. It was headed by Sardar Patel. Right. Then there was a Rules and Procedure Committee. Then there was a Steering Committee. A Steering Committee was headed by Dr. Rajendra Prasad. What the idea? So there are few major committee that was very active in Constituent Assembly, right? And you go through the the second chapter of the laxmikant, right? You read committee from there, right? It's just all our factual data. What are the committee, right? And when the Constitution was enforced, important facts, factual data. I will move to the preamble of India's Constitution, right? Preamble, and you know that what is source of preamble? From where it has been derived from? Where it has derived from? Objective resolution. Yeah. The preamble of India's Constitution has been derived from objective resolution. And do you remember preamble? Because we study it, on every NCERT book. So in each class, there is, on the first or second page, you can find the objective resolution. Oh, that is preamble. You know what is that? The line statement? Preamble of India's Constitution?
Yes, sir. It start with "We the people of India." means all
yeah.
the powers of India are
Hmm.
inherited in people of India.
Right.
And it also talks about matlab, a secular democratic republic and socialist. And uh, it three words are also taken from French, that is liberty, equality, and fraternity, and also justice. 4 points are there in preamble.
Justice, social, economic, and political, that has been borrowed from Russian constitution.
Okay,
Liberty, equality, fraternity has been received from the French Revolution. Yeah.
okay.
Good, good, good. Go ahead.
And sir, I don't know. So
Yeah. If you want to add further in Avinav's, anyone, if you wants to Avinav add to Avinav about preamble.
sir, it's called the soul of Indian Constitution. It's called the, यस ये एक सर 2-3 वर्ड्स थे इसके, मतलब प्रेम्बल को 2-3 वर्ड्स याद नहीं आ रहे अभी, लेकिन ये सोल ऑफ इंडियन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन, इट इज कॉल्ड द सोल
Identity card,
आइडेंटिटी कार्ड एंड
soul
होमो
of the
कुछ.
Indian Constitution, philosophy of the Indian Constitution,
यस
right?
सर, यस सर, यस सर,
That's helping you to remember. Yeah.
यस सर.
Yeah. That anything that you want to add more, Avinav? Or anyone if you want to add in Avinav? You don't know about preamble. We study since, 6th or 7th NCERT. Or have you never touched the NCERT? Okay, anyway, have you touched it now? On preamble, you must have gone through. And a preliminary idea, give me preliminary idea. Then I'll tell you in detail.
Sir, there is a question in prelims about about preamble. So वो मुझे याद है कि Constitution of India, it is a part of Constitution of India, but no legal effect independently.
Because you have solved it, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Anyway. Now look at, let me tell you preamble. Now, if you look at I told you that the US was the first country who framed the constitution. And later on, the other country followed to frame the constitution. And the US constitution introduced the preamble. The US constitution also has the preamble. If you look at the United Nations Charter, the UN Charter, have you heard about the UN Charter? Right? Have you heard about the UN Charter? Yeah, the UN Charter, no? Okay, have you heard about the United Nations? It is a world level organization, international level organization, consists of 192 members, right, of the world. And it is a very important, international institutions which govern the world on many occasions, right? Now, the United Nations works on UN Charter. For example, UN Charter is a kind of a constitution of the United Nations. UN Charter is also, is a constitution of UN, and it has also preamble. It has also preamble. Right. Later on, the country framed a constitution and they borrowed this tradition, the opting preamble. Right. India did the same. If you see the, for example, Constitution of South Africa, if you look at the Constitution of Republic of South Korea, if you look at the Constitution of France, it has preamble. Right? Perhaps France has no preamble. Yeah, France has no preamble, right? It has different traditions. Now, if you look at India, it followed the same, the preamble. Yeah, right? And it has been referred as a preface. Preface to the Constitution. Right, it has called as a preface to the Constitution or introduction to the Constitution, introductory part. Introduction to the Constitution, it has been called. Right, someone said, you know, as a identity card of the Constitution. Right, and Palkiawala called, someone called it is the soul of the Constitution. Someone says ethos of the Constitution. Right? Now look at the, you know, this preamble has been referred as a, you know, as a preface to the Constitution, introduction to the Constitution, identity card, soul, ethos. Someone said philosophy of the Constitution. Philosophy means the wisdom, the science of wisdom. Right? Right. Philosophy means love for wisdom, right? So it is a wisdom of the philosophy of the Constitution. Now, if you look at the, you know, the preamble, it starts with "We the people of India." We the people of India. Am I right? It starts with the "We the people of India." Yeah. थोड़ा थोड़ा slowly लिखते भी जाना है. Now, what does it mean? The "we the people." Not only the this. If you look at the United Nations preamble, it also starts with "we the, you know, people of the United Nations." It means we the people of the world. If you look at the US preamble, it also starts with the "we the people of United States." Here in India, it also starts with "we the people of India." Right? Having solemnly resolved to constitute India into sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic, and to secure to all its citizens justice, social, economic, and political, liberty of thoughts, expression, belief, faith, and worship, equality of status and of opportunity, right? And to promote among them all fraternity, assuring the dignity, right, of the individual and the unity and integrity of the nation. Right? In our Constituent Assembly, this 26th day of November 1949, do hereby adopt, enact, and give to ourselves to this Constitution. Right? Now, these are the words of the preamble. Right? Do, adopt, enact, and give to ourselves this Constitution. I'll explain little later. What do you mean by "we the people of India"? इसका क्या मतलब है? We the people of India, you know, resolve to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, you know, secular, democratic republic. We will come to these words to explain these words, right? All these words. What do you mean by "we the people of India"? Avinav, what you have said, it is about republic, right? So people, you know, the common people, any common people can be the head of the India. What do you mean by when they say "we the people of India"? It means our Constitution, we made it. Okay, we the people of India. Yeah. It is emphasizing on the citizen of India who, you know, who declares India as a sovereign, socialist, secular democratic republic. Right? Further, if you see, when we say that we, the people of India, then it reflects popular sovereignty. Popular sovereignty. What do you mean by the word sovereignty? What do you mean by word sovereignty? So when I say that, it reflects the popular sovereignty, what do you mean by sovereignty? Sovereignty means, batao. First you tell me, then I'll.
So means we are politically independent.
Yeah. Sovereignty means supreme control. Yeah. Supreme control. Right? It means, the people of India, popular sovereignty means the people of India are sovereign. Right? And sovereignty lie in the people of India. Right? Like, objective resolution clearly stated that, power and authority, all power and authority, all authorities and power are vested in the people of India. Right? Am I making sense? All authorities and power are vested in the people of India. Now, let me talk about popular, I talked about popular sovereignty. If you see the sovereignty, I told you sovereignty. So sovereignty means supreme control or supreme command. Now, if you look at the, the few states where sovereignty lie in one people. One people. Like king, like queen, right? Isn't it? Many states, sovereignty, lie in one people, in the hand of the one people, like king, queen, their family, right? This is called monastic sovereignty. What is it called? Monist. अच्छा, मोनो मतलब क्या होता है? Have you heard about word the mono? Mono, monotonous, monologus, बहुत word सुना होगा mono से, right? Single, exactly. So you are right. You are all are right. So this is monastic theory of sovereignty. The monastic sovereignty. So when the power lie in one people, that is called monastic sovereignty. That was not intended by the Constituent Assembly. No, that was not intended by the Constituent Assembly. The Constituent Assembly intended that the supreme control shall be vested in the whom? In the people's hand, the people of India. The supreme power shall be vested in the people of India. Now it's called popular sovereignty. Called popular sovereignty. Got the idea? Popular sovereignty. What is the concept of popular sovereignty? So we, the people of India, reflects popular sovereignty, right? as the objective resolution clearly stated that the all authorities and power shall be vested in the people of India. Again, here he said that we, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic. So we, the people of India, basically taking a resolve to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, democratic republic. Right? Socialist, secular, democratic republic. Making sense? We, the people of India, what does it reflect? It reflects that the source of all power and authority lies in the people of India, not anywhere. Right? Not anywhere. Now, I'll move to the, few more questions. For example, we declared India as a sovereign. Sovereign, right? Socialist, secular, democratic, sovereign, socialist, democratic republic. Socialist, sovereign, socialist, secular, sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic. 5 हो गया ना? Yeah. Right? We declared. What does it reflect? पहले तो meaning समझेंगे, then we will talk about. Right? So I told you that what is sovereign means. India is sovereign. What does it mean? Free from all external as well as internal control. Sovereign means free from external control. Nahin, free from external control, or can take all decision, right? Can take all decision, right? So that is supreme. India can take all kind of decision, right? Domestic decision as well as external affair policy. That is sovereign. We are not under any authority. We are free. We are autonomous. Free to decide. Are you getting my point? When we say India is a sovereign country, it means India is not under any authority. Right? India is not under the control of any country. It is free to take, its own decision. Right? Therefore, for example, Parliament is free to take all decisions on the behalf of the people of India. Right? Whether it is a domestic policy or whether it is a international policy. Making sense? Right? Basically, that is the meaning of sovereign. And if you see all these words reflects nature of the state, nature of Indian state, isn't it? I'll discuss the term state later on, but here you should know that it talks about the nature of Indian state. It shall be sovereign. Making sense? What it is talking about, preamble, right? Now, if you see the the nature of Indian state, the preamble explicitly talking about that India shall be sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic, right? Isn't it? Now, what do you mean by word socialism, socialist? What do you mean by the word socialist?
So that we have that no one can intervene in our Indian economy. That we have individual liberty.
No, we have individual liberty doesn't mean socialism or socialist. Yeah, go ahead. When we say we are socialist country, what do you mean?
So equality. That.
Yeah, very good, very good. Yeah, yeah. It means
we can run.
States shall take care. States shall take care, of all people, especially the vulnerable people. Vulnerable people like SCs, STs, OBCs, women, child, workers, right? PWDs, people with disabilities, PWDs, LGBTQs, poor. What the idea of socialism? The core meaning of socialism, right? States shall take care of the welfare of all people, especially to the vulnerable people. Am I making sense? Now, if you look at the DPSP of in the part 4 of the Indian Constitution explicitly, declaring India as a welfare state, right? India as a welfare state. That is all socialist principle, right? Look at the DPSP, which talks about, minimizing inequality between individual and giving maximum opportunity to all to develop their full potential, right? It also talks about equal payment for equal work. It also talked about, the childhood care, maternity relief. Sir, Subhumi Gopal K. Gandhi ji said also in socialism. What does he say? Yeah. Gopal Krishna Gandhi you are talking about. Are you talking about M.K. Gandhi? Mohandas Karamchandra Gandhi.
यस सर, ये उन्होंने कोट करा था कि मतलब कृष्ण मीन्स कृष्ण भगवान, तो सब भूमि गोपाल की कि मीन्स वी हैव द एक्स्ट्रा वेल्थ सो वी कैन डोनेट इन सोशलिज्म.
That is altruism. That is not a socialism. Donating is a socialism. For example, if Ambani or Andani have lots of wealth, they can donate, but that does not mean that we are in socialism.
Okay, so okay.
Socialism, let me teach you a little bit about socialism, then we will move, you can understand the proper criteria. Right? Now let me teach you socialism. Itna clear hai? In Indian context, socialism refers to, the state-led development. Right? Itna clear hai na? Thoda ek do line likh lijiye. The DPSP, declares India as a welfare state. DPSP declares India as a welfare state. And you can analyze, entire DPSP over here. Right? You can analyze entire DPSP over here if you want to answer. Right? But it is we are not talking about DPSP. DPSP talks about India as a welfare state. Right? For example, it talks about that India shall intended to establish social justice. Right? It will ensure, the minimum economic inequality. It will try to not concentrate wealth in a few hands. It talks about early childhood care. It talks about maternity relief. It talks about equal pay for equal work. It talks about free legal aid to poor and vulnerable people. It talks about, the welfare of the, child, right, adolescent people. It talks about also the welfare of the workers. So DPSP, and who will do it? State will do it. The state shall do it. That is a socialism. If you look at the Nehruvian economic development strategy, it was a socialist strategy, right? We have kept all the key industry in the hand of the state. Are you getting my point? We have kept all the key industries in the state. For example, railway, or coal, or infrastructure, and many things, right? If you see the India's the Congress session in Avadi session in 1955, it declared India, the ambition of Congress is to establish a socialist pattern of society. Yeah, socialist pattern of society. If you look at the Industrial Act 1956, this act ambition was to establish a socialist pattern of society. Making sense a little bit? Yeah? Okay. So let me connect you with here. Yeah. DPSP declares India as a welfare state, right? And it talks about state initiative for welfare of the people, for the welfare of the people, right? The Congress session, the Avadi session of the Congress, Avadi session of Congress 1955 declares its objective. Declared its objective, to establish a socialist pattern of society. Yeah, Congress declares its objective to establish a socialist pattern of society, right? And the Industrial Act and the Industrial Act 1956, also, had aim to establish a socialist pattern of society. a socialist pattern of society. Right? The Nehru's economic policy, you can write the Nehru's economic strategy bracket में mixed economy. The Nehru opted mixed economy, right? The economic strategy of Nehru intended to equity, like land reform. Have you heard about the land reform? Right? The land reform was intended to distribute land among the landless. Right? So when you are distributing land among the landless, it means a state is minimizing inequality and promoting equality. Am I making sense? That is a socialist idea. Right? Now, if you look at the word socialist, although if you look at the Indian Constitution, the word socialism was not there in the preamble. It was added in after in the 40s, after the 40 through the 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act. The word was not there in the preamble of the Indian Constitution. The word socialism. It was added through the 42nd Amendment Act, but it does not mean that the vision of the India's constitution maker was not socialist. They were intended to establish a socialist society where the state can do some developmental work and welfare work and protect the vulnerable people, like that time scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, minorities, the poor, right? For example, if you see the the further amendment to the Constitution, right? Constitution was amended again and again and provided reservation to OBC. It was provided reservation to physically challenged people. It provided reservation to economic weaker section. That is a socialist pattern. Are you getting my point here? Now the word, if you see the word socialism, added to the preamble through the 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act. Right? CAA. Got the idea? Making sense? Now, if you look at the 42nd Amendment, this 42nd CAA, Constitutional Amendment Act, this added also word secularism was added. You need, integrity word was added. Right? Then if you look at, the word, the and was also added. So 42nd Amendment of the Constitution added the word socialism. It was not there. Making sense? Now come to the 1990 when India, promoted capitalism. Right? Now look at the 1990 when we, moved from socialism to capitalism. We opened up, right? We opened up market, right? You must have heard about liberalization, privatization, and globalization. Yeah, you're right, Avinav. Now, that was the move. We tried to shift it from socialism to capitalism. But yet we are, we are committed to some value, socialist idea. If you look at the 1990, in 1990, we have moved to liberalization, privatization, and globalization. Right? We had gone to the market reform. We had gone to the market reform. Right? We actually privatized most of the, sectors. And a classical example is education, health. Right? Classical example is infrastructure. We have privatized, right? We have made very flexible policy for entrepreneurship. Now, if you look at 1990, we have moved from socialism to capitalism. But at the same time, if you look at India made several socialist policy. Right? India had made several socialist policy, right, in forms of many various social schemes. Right? There are many social schemes, isn't it? Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, right? Then right to education, right to food, right? For example, the PDS was given to the people. Then we have so many schemes to protect, Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan. We have many policies to protect, the SC. We have many policies to protect ST. We have many policies to protect women. Right? For example, we have, like Matru Vandana Yojana to protect the maternity of women. Right? So, of course, we have moved from the, from socialism to capitalism, but at the same time, we are not completely withdrawing from the welfare state. Am I making sense? In 1990, we have moved from socialism to capitalism, right? Because the state has withdrawn from many sectors. For example, education, right, health, infrastructure, many things had been privatized. Right? Look at the job. In 1990, the job rate was 2%. Now you can't consider the job rate was 2%. It means 100 people were recruited in the job, two people were recruited in the government job. Now can you expect, has it increased or decreased? Exactly, Avinav. Exactly. We have decreased. Now, merely 0.2 or less than people are recruited in government job. 0.1. I don't have the current data. Right? So we have moved from market capitalism, right? Now we actually, we every sectors, right? Even railway are being, right? Many of railway stations has been given private hand, and few parts of railway was also, went to the private hand, and after a few years, you can see that the entire railway will be sold to the private sector. Right? And most of the sector we have already sold. Right? But at the same time, if you look at, there are many policies. if you talk about, there are more than 36. No, it's called centrally sponsored scheme. Centrally sponsored scheme to protect women, to protect the vulnerable people. Right? Have you heard about Narega? What was it? It was for job creation, you know? It was for job creation. हर हाथ को काम, काम का पूरा दाम. That was a slogan. That every hand will get the job, right? And every job will get the due paid. Yeah, Avina. Right? So look at the socialist. But question comes, the word socialism has really relevance that is there in the preamble? That is the question. After 1990, look at the 33 years, right? We gradually moved from socialist to the market-led development, right? Or free market capitalism. Now, can you say me, is this word should be deleted from the constitution itself? The word socialism, Swati? Should we delete this word from the constitution? For the moment, I say yes. That's my position. This word should be. Why socialism is important? Why do you think that socialism, the word socialism is it would not be a mere empty slogan? Tell me why socialism is very important for India. The word socialism. Speak up, speak up. Because of diversity, no. No, speak up. Don't write. Equity in living, yeah, you are very closer. You are close, very close. Equity in living.
Yes, sir. According to few reports, now in India, rich become more richer and poor become more poorer.
Exactly
So
the
the gap
case.
is increased.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if we move ahead in capitalism, the gap further increases and poor becomes more poorer and vulnerable.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right. You're absolutely right, Avinav. Look at the reports of the Niti Aayog. Look at the World Inequality Report. Right? In the last 3 years, it is true that market-led development or free market capitalism has spreaded and reduced the poverty. But in absolute term, if you look at the inequality, India is the most unequal society in the world. Right? India is a most unequal society in the world. People are vulnerable. Right? So until if you look at the people who will be vulnerable, the word socialism would be very much relevant. Right? So somewhere else I'll give you the data inequality report. The 1% of India's population occupies the more than 27-29% of wealth. 1% of people. India's people occupies 29 to 27% of wealth. And further, if you look at the 10% of India's people occupies 57% of the India's wealth. Rich are becoming more richer and poor are becoming more vulnerable. Right? There are problems. And therefore, in this context, the role of the state is very important. Right? The role of the state becomes very important to protect the poor, to protect the vulnerable, to protect women, to protect, the LGBTQ, to protect child. I hope I'm making sense, Shivani. Yeah, yeah, right. So that is the, yeah. Should I give you a question? One question on this. I'm giving you one question, and you need to write answer. I hope I'm able to make you understand. You got the idea a little bit about socialism, right? I'm not going into theory. If you are interested, I'll go in theory, but tomorrow. Now, question is, you know, since 1990, yeah, you have internet problem, right, Swati? Yeah, I can understand. Yeah. I can understand. Right. Write a question. We just discussed why, the socialism is very, very important. Why it should not be deleted from the preamble. Because if you look at, the India's society, it is the most unequal one. The World Inequality Report and Niti Aayog report reflects that the rich are becoming richer and poor are becoming poorer. There are great divide in terms of, economic inequality in India, and that led to, ramification, multiple inequality. If you are unequal in terms of income, then that also impact on your education, that also impact on your access to health, that also impact your education, and other access to the material goods, right? Even your health. Fine. Anyway, so should it be deleted from the preamble, or should we maintain the word in preamble in India's constitution? So on which I'm giving a question. Since 1990, India has gradually moved towards market-led capitalism. Yeah. And in such context, how the word socialism has relevance in the preamble. This is the question, right? Discuss. Right? Answer length would be 200 words, not more than that. Right? And I hope you would be able to write something on it. Right? Yeah. So I'll stop here today. See you tomorrow with the other words, secularism. Yeah. Thank you, Shivani. Yeah. I'm stopping here. See you tomorrow.